Hello, everyone. I wanted a Starbucks, and so I ordered a Starbucks from a different location, one that's a little bit further out of the way, just because that's how the freeway was going to line me up, and I wanted to drink it before I got to the office because I was like really looking forward to it. So there's that energetic standpoint. And then number two, I ordered egg bites and actually had to select twice to get the egg bites ordered for my mom, but they didn't transact. But what that allowed to take place was to have a really cool, quick conversation with one of the baristas about energetic work and going into his field. So let me give you the context of what I'm going to share with you about giving your power away to diet and exercise. So this kid, he's 20 years old, he's going into kinesiology, and his dream is to work with professional athletes. And I was like, shut up. I'm deep into kinesiology, and I actually worked with AAA and 4A baseball players. And if you don't know, 4A is the inside lingo for professional ball players who make it to the big leagues, and 3A or AAA is the league below them, and sometimes players that are in the major leagues will drop down to the triple leagues while they're like repairing an injury or they're working on something. So I worked with those guys like 15 years ago doing Pilates, stuff for their spine and their rotator cuff. So he asked me, what is your biggest piece of advice? And I said, don't give your power away to the structures. And he's like, okay. I go, because when it comes down to it, it's your energetic field, your aura that's going to be interacting with theirs. And at the end of the day, their body is their bread and butter, and they need to trust you to work with you. Because even if you go through all the boxes, checking through the bureaucracy of a company and of a structure, it comes down to the athlete. And if they don't want to work with you, they're not going to want to work with you. So I said, don't give your power away to the structures. Don't second guess your intuition just to check a box. And it translates into the diet and exercise strategies, because what I see so much of is still blaming the diet culture and the diet industry and the exercise industry for people's problems, and the reasons why they still feel bad about themselves, and the reasons why they have a hard time sticking with a diet, meaning a calorie deficit, or why they have a hard time being consistent getting their exercise in. A lot of this has to do with a power struggle. And this power struggle is coming from the standpoint of having a separated consciousness. That's trippy, right? So hang with me for just a second, because I'm going to break down the energetics in your mind, your brain, and then also how it's coming out in your behavior, and then how to correct it. So you have three parts of mind: your unconscious, your subconscious, and your conscious mind. And the civilization shift that we're in, the 5,000 year cycle that we're in, where we're getting energetics in a synchronized surge, astrophysicists have proven this, that we're in one of these cycles, we're getting more information, like we're getting a brighter light to shine on the bullshit that's existed on this planet for so long, like the last 5,000 years. All of the structures are falling apart. You can see that. You can see the shift. Just wait for this one. We're going to have an onslaught of people not having jobs because every McDonald's location has signed on to have an automated French fry stir, which it replaces 4 people. So we're heading into another shift, another big explosion, just like we had in 2020 with the shift of a virus. So that being said, we're moving into the ability to have a unified field of consciousness. A lot of people in the spiritual community think that this means I get you to think about being unified in my point of view. And if you don't think in my point of view, you're out. Same thing with the diet structure, right? If we're not following it perfectly, we're out, we're doing it wrong. That's not true. So when we have these parts of the mind, we have the unconscious that separates between the subconscious, that separates between the conscious. What's happening is there's actual barriers between these three parts of your mind. I'm not talking about your brain structure. I'm talking about how your mind actually functions. So when we have the unconscious, this is just who we be. This is our identity. And because it's all related to how the body works under the skin and how the body projects its energy outside of the skin, this means that we're going to have diseases, illnesses, inflammations, and problems within our body when there is a separation. Separation leads to extreme thinking of good, bad, right, or wrong. And because then in the subconscious mind, we have all of these, they're literally called sub-personalities. We have all these identities that we learned in our conditioning to be a good girl or a bad girl. And so what happens is we have this base understanding in our mind of separation consciousness that then triggers the body what to do chemically, the molecules of emotions secreting from the brain, and vibrationally out into the world to do good or do bad based on the separation. Then what happens is we have the conscious mind, and the conscious mind judges what we know we should be doing. Because how many times have you said, I know what to do, I just don't do it? Well, the reason why you know what to do is because you're a smart human being. The reason why you're not able to do it is because the sub-personalities, the ways that your mind has learned how to interpret what separation means, what it means to be an individual in their own personality, in their own power, in their own intuition, has been conditioned to see that as good or bad. So we have that function, right? This is just how the mind works. Then we apply it to the strategies of diet and exercise, and this is where we get into trouble, especially if we're looking at the exterior structures as the cause to how we feel. So when I gave this guy advice, I was like, don't look for the bureaucracy of the system to tell you what to do. Trust your intuition, because there's a reason why you want to do this. Don't give your power away to the institution. So when we give our power away to the institution of diet and exercise, we are applying our unconscious linear thinking of good or bad. So anytime something bad happens in our life, we go to the food or we stop doing the exercise because we gaslight ourselves into saying we deserve to have some rest, or we don't need to go, or we just like stuff our face with like our most delectable food because that's going to get us to feel better really quickly. Then we have this like really fucked up pattern where we use diet and exercise. Hi, Mom, to let me know if the connection is okay. I just had to riff on this real quick before I go in. Then we do a really bad cycle to ourselves where we use the structures of diet and exercise to inflict punishment. So if we're like, we feel guilty that we ate something that was like not on our list, or ate something that was a little bit of a calorie surplus, or too high in fat, or too high in sugar, whatever it is, we go and we use exercise to punish ourselves. And then we could use diet to punish ourselves by starving ourselves. And so what has to happen is that we have to stop looking at the diet and at the exercise as a problem, because diet and exercise is just a part of life, of how you are enforcing discipline into your schedule. And really, to be honest with you, what a lot of these problems are the inner child, the narcissistic inner child that just wants to be fed, hugged. Like the narcissistic inner child is all about having all the attention on themselves. And they do not see a delineation between them and other. They expect everything to move around them. And while that's true, that you are the center of your universe, your mind is directing the energy, your actions are compounding the energy, and your feelings are attracting the like to you. So it is true that everything's revolving around you. However, when we use diet and exercise, when we relinquish the power to diet and exercise, what we do is whatever old identities, whatever traumas that we have, whatever ways that we've misunderstood feelings in our body as a source of disempowerment, where we felt bad for being a bad girl and we felt like we had to work to be the good girl, because it's a narcissistic inner child, she is going to use the diet and exercise as those perpetrators, as those misunderstandings. Because at the end of the day, All you have to do if you want to lose weight is be in a slight calorie deficit over time. And this means that you're able to eat the foods that you want in quantities that make sense. And a lot of people don't understand this because they think diet means suffering. And then when they can't take it anymore, that's when they look at diet as the source of their disempowerment, and they buck the system and they get all pissed off and they blame and they're like, I love my body, I love all the rules, I love the cellulite, and that is all gaslighting bullshit, because not very many people are at that level where they actually love themselves, and they are not, and it's evident by them not doing destructive behaviors to them. That's how you can tell if somebody really loves the shape they're in, if they are able to discipline themselves to not perform destructive habits on their body, and they're able to have healthy boundaries with the exterior. So, my lovely hottie women, do not give your power away to diet and exercise. They are just strategies. This is about you. And so when I have this system of Hottie with the Body to help you form this, like to bring your hotness to the forefront, this is all about getting the tangible done, having a system, being held accountable, having support, and actually knowing exactly what to do every single day. So like basic bullshit stuff that you need to get done, that's what Hottie with the Body is going to do for you. But we're also going to peel back a layer where you can see where you've given away your power, because where you've given away your power, where you feel disempowered, where you feel victimized, is why you don't follow through, and is why you don't get results even though you're doing the right things, because this is the deep unconscious. And I am so excited that in the last 3 years of trial and error, I've put this together to be in a system that makes sense to anybody. This makes sense to the people who have high sense perception, and it makes sense to the people who are just getting started to understand, I know what to do, I just can't seem to do it. I know there's something in that sentence, I just can't seem to do it, that I need help with, and I'm willing to learn. So this system is for anybody on their fitness journey. I'm so excited to share it with you. Right now we're still in pre-launch. It's $37 a month if you sign up for 12 months, canceling at any time. And then if you want to do paid in full for 6 months, that's going to drop you down to below $1 a day, which is so exciting. Both packages, you have a 7-day refund period, and then on the monthly you can cancel at any time. But obviously if you pay for 6 months at a time, you're not going to have a cancel at any time. You'll just have it there for those 6 months. So I'm so excited to share that with you. DM the Hot Girl Hotline if you have any questions. And for those of you that are in, Rod, Darlene, I am so excited. Allie, I'm so excited to have you in. Mwah.